This film, The Shawshank Redemption, it's like always at the top of these greatest ever lists.
Yeah.
#1 on IMDB right now.
Right, yeah. Solid reputation.
But it was a total flop initially. At the box office, I mean.
Oh, yeah, I remember reading that.
Made about $25 million, cost about that much, barely broke even in the US and Canada on its first run.
Wow.
So today, we're going to dive into these IMDb pages you sent over the main movie page and a bunch of user reviews. Really interesting stuff.
Yeah, lots to unpack there.
The big question is, how does a movie that starts out so lukewarm become this absolute classic that everyone seems to love?
That's exactly it. It's a fascinating journey. You've got this Stephen King novella adaptation, right? Doesn't set the world on fire immediately.
Not at all.
But somehow, over time, it just grows and grows into this cultural touchstone.
Yeah.
Millions of people rate it super highly on IMDb.
Yeah.
So, our mission, really, is to figure out why. We'll look at the themes, the big ideas.
Hope, friendship, that stuff.
Exactly. And the performance is obviously key. The message that seems to stick with people. But also, maybe touch on why not everyone loves it.
Yeah.
Got to get the whole picture.
Okay, good plan. Let's start with that initial problem, the box office versus the legacy.
Right.
Those numbers are just stark, making almost nothing in theaters, slow opening weekend. And now, IMDb's top film, constantly on TV, DVD, Blu-ray, streaming.
It's night and day, isn't it? It really suggests it needed time to breathe, maybe, away from that opening weekend pressure cooker.
Yeah, like its reputation had to build organically. It makes you think about how we even judge success, right? One of the user reviews actually compared it to It's a Wonderful Life and Citizen Kane.
Oh, interesting comparison.
Yeah, saying they weren't massive hits right away either, but look at them now.
It's a really sharp point. Sometimes a film's real value, its staying power, isn't obvious straight away.
Word of mouth, maybe?
Definitely. And home video was huge for Shawshank, wasn't it? People discovering it in their own space on their own time, maybe connecting with it more personally that way.
Right. And it wasn't like the critics hated it early on, was it? It got award nominations.
Yeah, nominated for Oscars and stuff.
Yeah.
So it wasn't dismissed critically, it just didn't connect commercially at first. The audience found it later.
Which brings us to why they connected. Those themes you mentioned. Reading the reviews, it's just bam, bam, bam. Hope.
Hope. Yeah.
Friendship. Getting through tough times. Resilience. People mention those constantly.
They absolutely do. And that's the core, isn't it?
Yeah.
Andy Dufresne, the banker, wrongly convicted,
Right.
spends, more than 2 decades in prison. And through it all, he maintains this quiet hope
Yeah.
and builds that incredible friendship with Red.
Morgan Freeman, yeah. Against this backdrop of, well, a pretty corrupt system inside the prison.
Exactly. And that long time frame, showing nearly a quarter century passing, that's key too, I think.
How so?
Well, it lets you really feel the weight of time, the grind of the institution. But also, it makes those small moments of defiance, of connection, of hope, feel even more powerful. Andy and Red's friendship becomes this anchor.
Like a light in the dark kind of thing.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe less dramatic. More like proof that your spirit doesn't have to be crushed, even in the worst places. It's about inner strength, not just wishful thinking.
And the acting. Wow, the reviews just rave about it. Tim Robbins as Andy.
Phenomenal, people say.
Yeah, inspiring, intelligent. And Morgan Freeman as Red. So many people called it his best work ever. Finest performance of his career.
You really get the sense that those performances are what locked people in, the dynamic between them.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Andy's steady, quiet hopefulness.
Yeah, almost unnerving sometimes.
Contrasted with Red, who's kind of given up hope at the start. He's resigned.
Institutionalized, yeah. And we see Andy slowly rekindle something in him. It's beautifully done.
What makes those performances stand out so much, do you think, after all this time?
Well, they embody the theme so perfectly, don't they? Robbins is that quiet inner strength. You believe he could endure that. And Freeman, well, he's our guide, isn't he? Through the narration, through Red's eyes, we see the prison, we see Andy's impact, we feel Red's own journey back towards hope. It's just masterful acting. Very subtle.
Yeah, subtle's a good word. And it wasn't just them, right? People mentioned the supporting cast too, like James Whitmore as Brooks.
Oh, absolutely. His storyline is heartbreaking. Such a powerful illustration of what happens when someone's been inside too long. Institutionalization, like you said.
But it's more than just the actors. People praise the direction. Frank Darabont, he adapted the novella too.
Right, from Stephen King. Rita Hayworth in The Shawshank Redemption. That was the original title.
Yeah. And reviewers mentioned the great steady pace of the film, the writing, the look of it, the cinematography. One review even said the movie was better than the book in some ways.
That's high praise, especially for a King adaptation. But you can see why Darabont really translated it visually.
How do those elements, like the pacing and the look, add to it?
Well, the look, the cinematography, it makes Shawshank feel real, claustrophobic, gritty. But then you get those moments, the rain scene, the opera music, moments of visual poetry that highlight the hope.
Right, contrasts.
Exactly. And the pacing, being deliberate, it lets you sink into the story, into the characters' lives. You feel the passage of that time with them. It's not rushed. Everything just works together, the script, the direction, the acting, the visuals. It's really well-crafted filmmaking.
And that craft leads to this huge emotional impact. That seems to be the secret sauce, maybe.
I think so.
So many reviews use words like moved, people saying it gives them hope, even if their lives are totally different.
Yeah, it taps into something universal.
There's talk of an everlasting message, and it connects without needing, big explosions or special effects.
Right, it's character and theme driven.
Someone literally called the ending the best ending in any entertainment business.
Yeah.
And spine-tingling, it feels like it makes people look inward, find something personal in it. Why does it hit so hard for so many?
Because it's about things we all grapple with, I think. Freedom, not just physical, but mental, spiritual, the need for connection, for friendship, resilience, hope.
Basic human stuff.
Yeah, fundamental things. And because it focuses on those core emotions, it feels intimate, relatable. The hope feels earned by the end, after everything they go through. It's not just tacked on.
Makes sense. But like you said, we need the full picture. Not everyone thinks it's the greatest film ever made.
No, definitely not. And it's important to hear those voices too.
We saw that review describing it as overly sentimental and predictable, questioning if it was really that original, calling the story conventional, said some characters were one-dimensional cardboard cutouts, and that it borrowed heavily from other prison movies. What do you make of those criticisms?
Well, they're valid points of view.
Yeah.
I mean, sentimental, you can see how someone might feel that way if the emotional beats don't land for them, or feel maybe manipulative.
Yeah.
Predictable. Perhaps if you've seen a lot of prison dramas, the tropes might feel familiar. And the one-dimensional character point. Maybe the focus is so tight on Andy and Red that some side characters don't get as much depth. It's a fair question to ask.
And the borrowing from other films.
Oh, sure. It exists within a genre. It uses some conventions of that genre. For some, that's comforting familiarity. For others, it might feel derivative.
There were even a couple who just found it tedious, didn't get the enormous reputation.
Right, and that just shows how subjective film is, doesn't it? What one person finds profound, another finds boring.
True. But the sheer volume of positive feeling is undeniable.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Overwhelmingly, it connects.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. The IMDB page had some cool behind-the-scenes bits, too.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
That opening scene in the yard where Red's throwing the baseball.
Yeah.
Apparently, it took 9 hours to shoot that little bit of dialogue.
9 hours? Wow.
The director wanted tons of takes. And Morgan Freeman apparently threw that baseball for pretty much the whole 9 hours.
No way.
Yeah. His arm was in a sling the next day.
Oh my gosh. That's commitment. Wow.
Tells you something about the dedication, right, to get it perfect.
Definitely. The little details matter.
And there was a little goof noted like a Hank Williams record from 1970 playing in a scene set in like 1963.
Yeah. Nice catch. Fans love spotting those.
Totally. And of course, the big quote everyone remembers, get busy living or get busy dying.
Iconic line. Really sums up Andy's philosophy, doesn't it?
It really does. Oh, and it was filmed at the old Mansfield Reformatory in Ohio, which looks pretty imposing. Adds authenticity, I guess.
Yeah, using a real historic prison space definitely adds to the atmosphere. These little tidbits, the quotes, the locations, they all become part of the film's whole aura.
Right. And finally, the awards. Didn't win Best Picture or anything major at the Oscars, did it? Even though it was nominated for 7.
No, Forrest Gump swept that year, I think.
Ah, right. But Shawshank still picked up a lot of other awards and nominations overall, like 21 wins, 42 nominations total.
Yeah, so it wasn't ignored by the industry. It got recognition for its quality, for the craft. Maybe not the absolute top prizes, but still acknowledged as a significant film.
So wrapping this all up, it really feels like Shawshank Redemption became this this cultural phenomenon despite that slow start because of a whole mix of things.
Seems that way.
The themes, hope, friendship, resilience, really powerful stuff. The acting, especially Robbins and Freeman, just unforgettable.
Absolutely central.
And a story that, okay, maybe not for everyone, but for a huge majority, it just delivers this incredibly moving message about the human spirit that sticks with you.
Exactly. Even the critics who had reservations often had to admit the acting was superb, or that it clearly resonated emotionally with audiences.
Its journey is kind of amazing, isn't it? From box office dud to all-time classic, it shows you just never know how a story will land or when it will land.
It really does. It speaks volumes about stories that tap into something fundamental about us.
Which brings us to a final thought for you listening. Thinking about Shawshank's whole ride from flop to beloved icon, what does its enduring popularity tell us about the kinds of stories we need? The messages that really cut through, regardless of how they perform on opening weekend. Is there maybe something about hope itself as a theme that gives a story like this the power to last? To find a permanent spot in our culture long after the initial buzz fades? Something to chew on, anyway?